We're going to start today's session with a conversation with Jukka Alanen, managing partner of Rebellion Ventures. Jukka and I met first when he was doing corporate development for PagerDuty, now a public SaaS company. And then I remember Jukka came to see me and discussed that he was starting a venture fund, and we've kept in touch. And I invited him back to discuss what his AI investment thesis is, given that we are basically the industry is flooded with AI investments right now. So Jukka, welcome. I'm looking forward to our conversation and catching up with you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, Sramana. It's fantastic to be here with you, and congratulations on everything you and 1Mby1M has done in terms of inspiring entrepreneurship and guiding founders throughout the world. It's just a fantastic initiative, massive potential to have an impact and really contribute to entrepreneurship worldwide. And what a series of roundtables, 648 thus far. So congratulations. Very excited to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's start there. How are you thinking about AI investing in this time?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll talk a bit about our thesis. We're focused on what we call artificial super capability, and I'll talk more about what that means. But I'll give you first an overview of just a quick overview of our fund. Then I'll talk more about this era of artificial super capability ASC that we're building with entrepreneurs. And then I'll talk more about a little bit about how our fund plays into that.
Okay.
So Rebellion Ventures is a pre-seed and seed VC firm here in Silicon Valley that partners with entrepreneurs to build what we call autonomous operations and AI agents. And our goal is to help entrepreneurs revolutionize business models with what we call 10 to 100x productivity gains and create the era of artificial super capability. Again, I'll talk more about that in a moment. The way we look at this artificial super capability is that we see a shift from passive intelligence-focused AI to action-oriented artificial super capability that can drive business outcomes autonomously. When you think about the real world, it's really the context-specific capability to act that delivers results, not just general intelligence. Mm-hmm. So when we think about this, we see AI capabilities evolving to be superior to humans in areas such as speed, cost, and accuracy in specific areas. And this shift of moving on one hand to action-oriented capability to deliver results autonomously, and on the other hand, having capabilities in speed, cost, and accuracy that are superior to humans, this shift is what we call artificial super capability, the era of that. And that we believe has the potential to unleash the greatest productivity boost in human history, drive 10x to 100x type of productivity gains, and really transform business models across industries. And we see as part of this that there's a diverse AI workforce emerging across industries. This means AI workers, digital humans, autopilots, and autonomous agents. And these AI workers basically will bring superhuman capabilities, and they'll be continuously learning, observing, thinking, and acting 24/7 to practically drive goals and elevate human work as part of that. So we partner with entrepreneurs from this fund to help them build revolutionary new ventures around autonomous operations and AI agents. And we have a goal to help entrepreneurs create at least $100 billion in annual productivity value by 2030. And that's what we're on track to do based on the initial ROI metrics so far. And the way we assembled this fund to help entrepreneurs is that we pulled together a network of over 70 unicorn founders, operators, and industry experts who are limited partners in the fund. And then they also advisors to our entrepreneurs. So we bring a lot of access to industrial relationships, operating playbooks, and expertise to help entrepreneurs build and scale disruptive startups in this area. And I bring myself, as you know, my background as an operator before Rebellion, helped build 3 VC-backed startups to 3.5 billion in IPO and M&A exits. So for us, it's really bringing the set of operating expertise and industrial relationships to help entrepreneurs build this era of artificial super capability and unleash massive productivity gains and really elevate human work as part of that.
How big is the fund, Jukka?
Yeah, it's a $12.9 billion fund focused on pre-seed and seed.
And what size checks are you writing?
It's in the a few $100,000 per company, typically into the pre-seed or seed. So yeah, it ranges depending a little bit on the company, the stage, and what's needed. But typically a few $100,000, and sometimes we may be the first check into the company, or then we may collaborate with entrepreneurs as part of a bigger pre-seed or seed round.
So if you are doing a pre-seed round in AI, what do you ask to see in terms of what's in the company? What, do you see an MVP? Do you see just a concept? What stage are you investing in?
Yes, this has actually changed a lot over the past, call it 5 years. 5 years ago, AI companies, even at seed stage, they didn't necessarily have really a commercially ready product or paying customers. But that has changed a lot over the past 5 years. So these days, even pre-seed startups may have a product, may already be starting to engage with customers, and usually at the seed stage, you're much farther along in terms of already building that product and taking it to market and starting to drive adoption. When we think about what's important with entrepreneurs, number one is the customer problem. Have you identified and really understood deeply what is the compelling customer problem that AI and automation are uniquely positioned to solve? That insight into customer needs, behaviors, and understanding what's broken in the status quo that you can come and really transform and revolutionize. That's really important. Understanding both the customer personas as well as their issues, their inefficiencies in the status quo. Then number two is how can being able to create a value proposition that is really radically better. We call it 10 to 100x better than the status quo in terms of how you can drive productivity, how you can improve human work, how you can accelerate velocity, or whatever it might be based on the customer needs, in terms of applying AI and automation to really transform those operations. So that's number two, and creating this kind of irresistible value proposition for customers. Number three is then the team itself, and typically we see a great magic happening when you combine both deep domain expertise in terms of you understand why and how the status quo is broken and how it could be transformed into something much better, and then you bring the AI and automation know-how to build a solution that really delivers that. So those three are the most foundational elements that are important for us. Now then, depending on whether it's a pre-seed or seed, you may be in different stages of customer engagement, customer validation, customer traction, and the number of things that we can then start looking at from there. But really the most foundational pieces are, again, understanding the customer problem, deep insights into why and how it's broken. Number two, the irresistible radical value that you bring to transform operations. And number three, the team that has deep insights as well as the know-how to really drive that kind of transformation.
So Jukka, something a little bit detailed, but I want to double click down on an issue. Are you seeing a lot of bootstrapping before they come to seek a pre-seed round? Because if they have to get to a product and customers before a first check, there has to be a significant amount of bootstrapping. So I guess that's my first question. And the related question is, how are they getting to that product? Are they building on top of a platform, an existing platform? So a lot of the stack is already from somebody else, and they're adding the vertical logic on top. How are they managing to bootstrap to that extent where they already have a product and customers?
Yeah, great questions. So in terms of uh, bootstrapping and how you get started, we are seeing indeed that often you get started by and this goes back to how entrepreneurship fundamentally has changed. The old school traditional model where you write an upfront long business plan, and then you try to go get funding based on that long business plan. And then once you have the funding, then you can start bringing people on board, and then you start going out to customers and actually start engaging. That kind of model is not really that that kind of model. It just doesn't make sense in today's world, and it's upside down. So typically these entrepreneurs, they have done a number of things before it makes sense to get funding. One is that they've done a lot of work. They bring already insights from their expertise in terms of where the opportunities or problems might be, but they typically have done some work to really understand and validate the customer problems. And they've started building something and the way this has changed a lot. Again, like 5 years ago, when you were building AI companies, you basically had to build most of the stack yourself. So that took a lot of time. It was very expensive. But nowadays, you've got a number of open source components that you can leverage, the number of commercial APIs that you can leverage, and then you can be really more focused on what is your core, what is your unique value add, where are you differentiated, and you can focus on that. So you don't need to build the entire stack yourself. That would not make any sense anymore in today's world. So that helps entrepreneurs get started in a more lean, cost efficient way and faster. But typically there's some work they've done before it makes sense to get funding and also assembling the team. At least the kind of the core founding team in place, and so those three key elements in terms of customer insights and some validation even before having a commercially available product. Using ways to be very focused in terms of what exactly do you need to start working on and building to again get more customer validation. Before and starting to assemble that team before it makes sense to have funding, and then obviously with funding we can start accelerating and building that out in a bigger way.
So let's double click down on some of the companies that you have invested in, and tell us a bit of the situation. Like, at what stage did they come? What did they have already? What did you see that compelled you to invest in those companies? How do you see the potential? So let's do maybe 2 or 3 examples.
Yeah, absolutely. So thus far we have invested in 14 startups out of this fund, all in this area of creating or enabling autonomous operations and AI agents. And they do transform a number of areas. Some of them are focused on engineering, some of them are focused on sales, financial services, insurance, healthcare, and so on. So I'll give a few examples of the kinds of companies. So they are again all related to there's something broken in the status quo in terms of manual inefficient operations that ties up a lot of human work, and then how you can radically automate that. So one company we invested in is called Wand AI, and Wand AI provides AI agents for knowledge workers in the enterprise to analyze data, gain insights, and automate work again, using AI, where you can do that much faster, massively, actually radically faster than what you could do with traditional or manual analytics or classical analytics tools. And also they've really built it for enterprise use cases as the things like ChatGPT and so on. They weren't really designed for enterprise data analysis and insights and so on. And I think we were the first fund that invested in them. There were a few angel investors already involved who had started working with them, and then we joined them in this building this company out, and they've raised since then a lot more capital, and valuation has gone up, and they're having some really interesting success with customers. They had already built an MVP type of product by that time, and had assembled at least a good starting point for the team. Another company, this company is still in the stealth mode, so I can't share the name of the company, but they are providing what you could call an AI engineer to manage software reliability, in terms of when you have issues with software, then the AI engineer can at least serve as the first line of defense to try to manage those issues and troubleshoot and try to fix those issues instead of tying up human work on that. And
at what point is that AI engineer inserted? Is that in the corporate IT environment, or is during software development? At what point is this person or this agent being inserted?
Yeah, so that would be when you have digital applications and services. Typically, these types of issues are especially relevant in consumer-facing or other types of applications where you have users for those applications, and then as fixing all kinds of reliability issues can tie up a lot of engineers' time. So if AI can help you manage and respond to these different reliability issues and try to diagnose and troubleshoot and fix those issues, at least as the first line of defense, that can save a lot of time for engineering teams, as many of these engineering teams are today have to spend a lot of time on that, and it takes away from innovation. So that's where it really fits in. So it's really in the production, in the operating environment, where it then works on these kinds of issues. And this company, in terms of when you asked about the stage where we invested together with a few angels, and then after we invested, they then later did a larger VC round, a seed round. So we basically invested in the angel and pre-seed stage, and then there was a larger seed round done after that.
Okay. So you want to do another one?
Up to you. I've got, again, 14 companies in the current fund already, and we're adding 20 to 25 more. So I've got quite a few companies I'm always excited to talk about, as we really enjoy working with entrepreneurs. But I know we have limited time, so I don't want to spend too much time on going through individual companies.
I'm actually quite interested in what, maybe let's do quickly, maybe a few other companies, and just kind of focus on the problems they're solving. We don't need to go into the stages, but let's just get a sample of the problems they're solving.
Sounds good. So another company is called Quandary, and they are focused on providing AI digital workers for insurance companies, specifically insurance brokers and agents, to automate processes.
Yep.
Today, the problem that those insurance brokers and agencies have is that they have to do a lot of manual work to manage processes such as insurance renewals and revisions to policies and so on. So that just takes multiple hours from these agents' jobs, every day, and takes them away from actually building and growing their business. So they created basically a fleet of AI digital workers that can manage these processes independently and do it 10 times faster than humans would do, and do it 80% cheaper than humans would do. And then it really enables the staff at these insurance brokers and agencies to shift their focus on more value adding, more strategic, more revenue generating activities. So that's an interesting in terms of again a vertically oriented play. Another example I'll give is a company called Activio. They provide AI sales agents that proactively identify new sales opportunities in your ideal customer profile segment in the market, and then start engaging and reaching out and growing the sales pipeline. And today it's very hard for many sales teams to be able to basically everyone wants more new logos and new customers, especially when you're building out new segments. And it's often hard to know which are the best customers to reach out to, and who are actually interested and basically qualified type of prospects that you should engage. So they analyze over 1 billion different data points per day, and then autonomously identify and recommend prospects based on that data, and then can start the sales engagement process as well. So again, like what you can see here is a bit of a pattern that there are lots of these different things where there's a lot of things that humans have to do today, as in the sales world, often it would be different SDRs or BDRs having to do a lot of manual reach out and just blast things all over the place, and hoping to get some prospects that would be engaged. So there are opportunities that we see here where AI can do that faster, but AI can also tap into a lot of data and analyze and process that data in ways that would be very hard for humans to do. And then obviously AI can do this 24/7, so you can get some pretty significant productivity gains. And also you can aggregate expertise across a number of basically across a pool of organizations. So you can basically have almost like the best sales expert, or the best in the case of Quandra, the best type of in terms of how you manage these processes. You can really have that expertise codified in the AI agent or in the digital worker.
So, Jukka, are your vertical AI investments, sounds like your strategy is entirely vertical AI, yeah? That's correct.
Not entirely. So we look at, you could think about them in kind of 3 types of categories. So some are industry specific vertical, but many of them are still building platforms in that area, but they are then vertically oriented platforms. Some of them are what I would call more functional, like sales or engineering focused companies. So they're solving problems in those areas and trying to build more of a platform. And then there's a third category of companies, which I would call more specialized platforms that can be more horizontal, more kind of just across industry, and they provide more enabling platforms for use cases. We haven't really focused on just like basic LLMs, as that space is increasingly getting commoditized and very competitive and so on. But there are lots of opportunities for more specialized platforms that entrepreneurs build.
As an example, we've done vertical industry specific problems. We've done functional problems in this discussion so far. Could you discuss a platform company that you have invested in?
Yeah, there are actually quite a few, as many, and it's interesting that many of these companies, they may not start necessarily fully as platform companies, but they start with one beachhead vertical or one other, otherwise a beachhead use case, and then they expand and broaden more into a platform company over time. So I'll give you 2 different types of platform companies. So one company is called Ubicept, which is a spin out of the MIT Media Lab, and they have a new type of computer vision technology that can radically provide better quality, especially as today the issue with computer vision in many real world use cases is that if you have fast movement or you have poor lighting conditions, the computer vision doesn't really work well. So that really affects computer vision in real world use cases, especially when you think about in many different verticals like logistics or automotive or transportation and so on. So they have a brand new technology that they pioneered that just radically looks at things at a single photon level and then can create very different level of quality of computer vision. So that's enabling technology that can then be used in a number of different verticals, but it's highly specialized for.
So it augments images that computer vision captures. It augments those images by applying machine learning.
Yeah, so basically what they do is that they are taking in single photon, they are analyzing essentially light at a single level of single photons, and then they use AI and ML to process basically individual photons, and then based on that you can basically have as good imaging and perception and vision as nature allows, because you're really operating at a single photon level that you're then analyzing. And that's a perfect use case for AI, because obviously, as you can imagine, you have a very large number of photons, so you really need AI and ML to be able to analyze and make sense of all of that data. Another example, a very different platform, is a company called Hulu Automation. They provide a platform that they're targeting especially for process automation for small and medium-sized enterprises. They've especially focused recently on financial services and retail, but it works across multiple industries. And they provide, today the issue when you do process automation in many of these companies is that many of the traditional process automation platforms were designed for large enterprise. So they're very complex, very time consuming, require a lot of professional services or expertise and take a long time. So they're not really a good fit necessarily for small and medium-sized companies. So they build a platform, really a new type of platform that enables then, whether you're a bank or you're a retailer, to automate a number of business processes, from loan collections to how do you manage your catalog for retail SKUs, so that's again a very different type of platform, but they are very much thinking of that as a platform, as it enables multiple types of use cases and applications, and multiple verticals. So what I'm seeing in the practice is that there are many different types of platforms, and there are platforms on top of platforms. So there's like a hierarchy or stack of platforms that are emerging in this industry, and many of those platforms use other platforms. So it's really like a collection of different platforms at different abstraction levels, depending on what is needed to add value for customers.
Yeah. What I see is that in all of this, not in the computer vision example that you gave, that is a very, very specific technology problem. But the rest are all domain-specific knowledge that is being codified with AI that can automate really functions, and then you build layers of abstractions on top of that. So whether it's sales intelligence or retail catalog building or insurance agents and so on, it's basically really understanding the domain and the step-by-step process of the domain enough to be able to apply AI and automation.
I think that's a really important point, because it's very hard as a brand new startup to say that we're going to be a very broad platform that does all things to all people. That doesn't really work when you're a startup. You have to be focused. You have to have your beachhead use cases. You may already have from the get-go a platform vision in terms of how you're architecting the platform, how you think about data, how you think about your ecosystem. It's good to have a vision, but you need to be, on the other hand, very pragmatic in terms of where can you solve customer problems and start getting adoption and building out market traction, as well as get revenue. You need to be very focused and have a beachhead approach there.
Yeah. I'm going to conclude with some general questions about how you see the industry developing. How do you view general AI? I mean, we are in our world, in the world of startups and venture capital, we are really looking at the specific problems, the verticals, the functionals, the domain-specific intelligence, and that's really where we seed capacity to build significant companies, and where there are what we call the tools, right? The picks and shovels of making all that work. Those are the opportunities for building startups currently. And then there are the open AIs who are, flushed with capital, who are building these very large horizontal platforms. That's a different category of investment. But how do you view general AI? Is general AI even relevant?
Yeah. So again, when you think about this very pragmatically from real world perspective, and I'll contrast and compare a little bit to artificial general intelligence AGI, as there's a lot of excitement around that. And that basically what AGI seeks is essentially to match human level general intelligence. And we have a different point of view. We think that, again, in the real world, it's really the capability to act that delivers business results rather than how much general intelligence you possess. So that's why we put the focus on how can AI bring capability to drive results, not just kind of a level of general intelligence compared to human intelligence that you have. And that capability to drive results and act, typically that's more context and domain specific. So what really matters to perform and drive results in a specific job. And furthermore, in the real world, for AI to do that, you need more than just intelligence. You need capabilities to operate and interface and act in specific environments, in specific contexts.
Yeah, there's workflow, there is API, there is
absolutely. As a lot of that is workflows and integrations and as opposed to the general level of intelligence. And also, if you look at this from an enterprise customer perspective, if there's AI that just matches humans, that's great. But it'd be even better to have AI that can have superior capabilities, at least in perform specific jobs and tasks in terms of cost, accuracy, speed, because then the economic business case to actually invest in that technology and deploy and make use of that is more compelling than just like generally matching human type of intelligence. So I think this is I think a more pragmatic approach to driving results with AI than just matching human intelligence in general.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think actually from our perspective, from the perspective of the entrepreneurship ecosystem, artificial general intelligence is almost irrelevant. It's really in the problem specific intelligence and the problem specific workflow, API, everything in context to that can really drive superior automation. That's really where the opportunity is for startups.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for entrepreneurs to think about, as different AI technologies evolve, you can think about that as a toolbox, and the toolbox is getting more capable, more powerful, but you need to think about what problems can you apply the toolbox for, and make sure that you've got really significant problems where there's, it's critical for customers to solve those problems, and you can bring radically better approach or radically new type of value for them by applying the toolbox. So I think that's really where there's just a massive amount of opportunities for entrepreneurs. And again, as that toolbox gets better, it just makes entrepreneurs gives even more opportunities for entrepreneurs to solve more and more problems and create more and more value for customers.
Very good. Very good. Great discussion, Jukka. I'm happy to hear that your vision of launching the fund on specifically focused on AI has come true, and since we last talked, and that we have real use cases that we're discussing now. So we'll catch up again in a few months, and good luck.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Romana, for having me here, and it was really fun to discuss this topic with you, and good luck for entrepreneurs who are doing the pitch here. I'll have to drop off for another meeting here, but thank you, everyone, and thanks, Romana, again for having me here.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Folks, we're going to do the entrepreneur pitch session next. This is a safe working session. You can discuss what you need to discuss with me, and I will give you at my best advice on how to remove your obstacles and your roadblocks. I'm on your side. I have no other agenda but to, help you move forward. If you disagree, that's fine. It's your venture. You do what you want. Let's start with Emeka from Lagos, Nigeria. Emeka, please unmute your line and tell us what you're doing.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. My name is Emeka Promise from Lagos, Nigeria. So I founded my company is Excellent Bridge Technology LLC. Okay, Excellent Bridge is a software company that focuses on enterprise applications. Okay, so we started in 2012. So I've been in this business for over a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been building and evolving over time. So the first application we've built, which is this Invex ERP. So Invex ERP started as a small business for a small business software to manage sales processes, inventory processes, just a basic small business accounting. So that has evolved. That has evolved into Invex ERP. So what we are doing right now is our software has evolved into a full-blown ERP solution, that's enterprise resource planning solution for different businesses. Now, the disadvantage for us is that we are in a big, we're in an industry with big players like SAP, Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics, and all of these kind